Afternoon all. Okay, just gonna do some quick testing to make sure that I've got audio here, because last time I lost it all and we don't want that to happen again. So let's see here. Let's hit live. Come on, catch up. There we go. Okay, we got audio. Good. Okay. Let's see here. So, welcome to a Tuesday bonus stream. I wanted to do a stream this weekend, but I spent the entire weekend recovering my server. So good news is I've rebuilt the server's back up and running. I've got a bunch of redundancy and all that stuff in place. I was not able to recover basically anything. I completely toasted all that stuff. So all of my tracking that I have for Dungeon Fodder tiles is basically kaput. Thankfully, we've got all of the stuff in the videos, so I just have to go back through the videos and I'll manually get it all added back into the database. So then everything will be there. I just have to manually rebuild everything. But we do have everything in there, so I'll just go ahead. Whoops. Helps if I go to the right scene, right? Yeah, here we go. So I do have the server back up and running, so we can still have the timer. I can start the hi Bree. I do have the timer back up and running, so we can keep track of the time and all that fun stuff. So we can track all that. I just have to go back in right now. The Kanban board is totally empty for Dungeon Fodder. I know we had some milestones and stuff like that. Again, I have to just rebuild everything, but the server is recovered. So that's just a little bit of, housekeeping stuff I have to do in the back end. But I just got that back up and running late Sunday. Yeah. And then I didn't have any chance yesterday to actually work on this stuff. So today, let's see, let's go over here. We're working on milestone number 4 for Dungeon Fodder tiles. So we're working on our heroes, monsters, and their abilities. So today, the things I want to work on is I had a conversation with Can Evan in the comments from last video talking about the dice rolling and whether or not they're actually doing the right distribution or not. So I want to make a quick tool. I think we should probably be able to get done maybe like 100-ish lines of code. It should be pretty fast, actually, because we're going to be able to copy and paste a lot of the stuff we already have into the dice roller, and then we can create like a little output, and that'll show us our distribution of the attacks, hit, miss, damage results over like 1,000 or 10,000 results. So then we can actually see our damage distribution to make sure our powers and everything are built properly. So I want to do that. I think that should be pretty quick. I will admit I toyed with the idea using which one was that now? Anti-gravity. So that was probably Gemini, to try to come up with an idea for that. And, this is just solving some math stuff. And it's like, I'm looking for a distribution curve, came up with some real quick stuff. So we'll throw that together, just so then we can take a look at our dice, see the results, and we can check how our powers work out. Because I think this is going to be a very useful tool as we go forward building all the different hero powers to make sure, like, is Fireball overpowered if we're rolling 4 dice against orcs with 1 defense or 2 defense or something like that. So I think that's going to be very useful for us to have. So we'll build that real quick. It's going to be another tool. It's going to be something I think that's going to be very useful for people to have, especially if you start making any type of board game or dice-based game where you want to have that. So I think it's going to be, I'm going to build it quickly in the stream, and then I'll probably build it as a separate independent tutorial over on my other James Knight Tutorials channel, which has had a delay in its start because, again, I've lost all the footage I've recorded because I'm an idiot and didn't properly back up my stuff. So again, learn from me. Don't just count on RAID being your backup strategy, because it's not. That's just a help mitigate when something goes bad. It doesn't protect you when things go really bad. So you better have a better backup strategy. So that'll probably be one of the first videos on that channel over there. Then after that, after we get a little dice rolling mechanic going, after that, let's see what I put in my notes. We want to work on getting all the systems in place so we can actually build out these powers. So first things I want to do is, I've been not teasing it, but kind of kicking it down the road for a little bit. Excuse me. The basic attack, we need to make sure it subtracts one of the action points, or else, like right now, we can just keep spamming attack over again by our players, and it never subtracts anything. So we'll get that implemented. Hopefully that should be real quick. I just haven't done it yet. After that, the other thing I want to do, and I think we saw this last stream, was when using the custom icons for the powers. Like I used the Godot's logo icon for the wizard's fireball, I think it was, and that just made the button like huge and fills up the whole screen. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a custom button, make it smaller, so that we can constrain the size and everything works as expected, so it doesn't overlap our screen and make it so the action bar is half the screen, and it makes it almost impossible for us to interact with. So we'll go ahead and get that implemented. And then after that, we're going to work on the abilities, the systems for our ability. So there's going to be things like, we need a buff system. So if we do like the rogue for mobility, if he gets to move an extra 1.5 times speed, we need to have that in there. We need to tick it away so that it expires eventually, and then off we go with that. We need to build in our targeting abilities, because we have AoEs for the wizard for fireball and stuff like that. We need to discern whether, like, when the priest casts healing, is it on a allied character? Because right now we have it so they can't target allied characters. They can only target monsters if you're a player. So we need to have that toggle in there to make sure we can validate the targets. And then, stuff that casts on ourselves, mobility, all that stuff. It's all buff systems. And let's see, what else do we have? I think that's going to be the big thing. Once we get all those systems in place, and then we can start building out. We'll probably build out a couple powers here and there just to test each of these systems as we go. But once we have those base systems in place, then we can actually start building the actual powers for the people. So I think that's the plan for today. Again, we're going to start with the dice mechanic, and then we'll go from there. Okay. Oops, as I failed to cap my soda. Okay. So the nice part, let's go ahead and use our tracker that we have again. So let's go ahead here. We're going to do Dungeon Fire Tiles. What are we working on here? Character abilities. Okay, save. There we go. Okay, timer's ticking. Okay. Let me just make sure. I think this is still at 125%, but I just want to double check. Yep, okay. So this should be right where you guys can see it. Okay, so what we want to do, and we had some funky die rolls before where it kind of felt like we were maybe not getting the distribution that we expected. So let's do a new scene. Let's just make it, a node. We don't really need dice simulation. Dice simulation. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to make it, let's put it in the core components. We have a dice. There we go. Dice simulation. Let's save the scene. Oh, I gotta hit create on that first. Scene, save scene as core components, dice. There you go, dice simulation. Okay. Okay, so what we want to do with this is we're going to try to simulate 1,000 or 10,000 rolls or something like that with our dice, and try to see if we can make this, give us the results that will tell us whether or not our mechanics, especially with when we want to weight die faces or something like that, we want to make sure that that distribution is working properly. So let's go here. We're going to make this a tool script, because what I want to do is I want to actually run this within the editor. I don't want to have to run this as an external scene. So let's see. First, we need to, let's do an export var, and let's do our die resource, or die scene. We'll call it die scene. That sounds good. It's a packed scene. There we go. And then we can just, if we want to change, like right now we have our Hero Quest die, but say maybe we have the, what do they call, I already forgot what they call them, like the power dice for Hero Quest, where sometimes there's double hits or double shields, things like that. So then we can just change out the die as we need it. Let's do export var. How many times do we want to run it? So an integer. By default, let's do 10,000. Yeah, that works. Now that should give us a nice, pretty consistent curve. Let's see here. Let's do an export var. We need because we're going to be using attack dice. So let's figure out our attack dice, how many of these we want. By default, let's just do 3. That's fine. Let's set up our defense dice. Most things have 2, so we'll set that as 2. The other thing we have to do, because the way this is going to be a Hero Quest tester, because remember how our combat mechanic works, we have swords for hits, and then we have monster faces for monster shields, and then an actual shield for player shields. So we need to be able to say, are we attacking a monster? Because they only have 1 in 6 chance of defending, whereas a hero has 1 in 3 chance of defending. So let's do a var is monster. That's going to be a Boolean. By default, this is going to be true because we're going to mostly be testing player abilities. And then let's see, we need one more thing. We need a button that we can do. So let's do an export var, and let's do a run simulation. SIMULATION, run simulation now. And that's going to be a Boolean, so it's just a checkbox. We're going to set that to false because this is a tool script. We don't want constantly running. But then we're going to make this a setter. So we're going to do set value. Okay. And then from there, we're going to say if value, if there is a value, then we can run our simulation. Run SIMUL simulation. Okay. And then we'll make this function down here. I'm just going to come down here and define it right now. That's not going to return anything because all we're going to do is we're just going to output it to the output box at the bottom. Okay. So let's see. Do we need anything else? So we got all this. So we can save this. So like right now, we can actually come over here. Oops. We do a quick load. And if we look up our die, okay, here's our die scene. I don't know, even in 4.7, they still don't preview this properly. I'm just curious. If I try to quick load again, yeah, I don't know how it determines that, but oh well. And then if we do this, then it's going to run simulation. But right now it's, it's running, but it doesn't do anything. So you can see here, we set the value because this is a tool script. We can see the updates happening. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else we need here. Whoops. So let's actually set up our simulation. So first, let's just double check. And I found a video, I don't remember who did this the other day, talking about using, I don't remember if it was Stay at Home Dev or if it was one of the other ones there, talking about using the best practices, the formatting guide from Godot. and they said, you should use the not. I still prefer the exclamation to say not, but best practice is use the word not because it's easier to read. I just, use exclamation equals for not equals. So it makes sense for me. And that's the way I do it. But best practice formatting style guide, that's the word I was looking for, says you should probably use the word not instead. So let's see. So if there's not a die resource, or a die scene, I mean, sorry, then what we need to do is we need to just print an error. Print error. And then we can just say no die loaded. Okay. So like right now, if we did this, we hit this, boom. Oh, I didn't actually do it here. Oh, did we not hit save? Okay, so that should, if there's not a die scene, that should have kicked us out here. Return. If there's not a die scene, that should have kicked us out. Why did that not print our error? Die scene, nothing there. How about if we do if die scene equals null? Try that. Let's just make sure it's actually, maybe it's just not printing our errors the right way. Running. Okay. So we should not see running. Oops, I got to put this in. We could also be running into a problem with 4.7. Oh my God. Stop trying to auto help me. Thank you. Yeah, so it's not actually doing that. So now if we set our scene here, we load up our die. Now we should get the running when we check the box here. Let's just make sure that this is not a weird 4.7 bug. Yeah, there we go. Now we have running. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, yeah, that's very, might be a 4.7 bug. I'm hoping 4.71 comes out very shortly because I've been running into a lot of just, annoying bugs, not like breaking bugs, but just annoying bugs. And you spend a little extra time trying to troubleshoot something that's not actually a problem. Okay. So if this is running, then what we can do, now let's do a var, and then we can do a die, not die. Do we want to do a die? Do we want to do a, let's just call it a temp die, because we're only going to temporarily use it here. So let's see here. And that will be our die scene.instantiate. Okay. And then from there, we can do var faces equals die, temp die dot faces. I think that's what I called it, I believe. So then we just want to double check and make sure that we have a valid die that's loaded. So if faces dot is empty, empty, is empty, and then we're going to just do another print error. We're going to say invalid dice. Invalid die. There we go. Invalid dice. Die scene. There we go. Invalid die scene. There we go. So that's going to say, hey, you don't have the right dice. This is just more like when we get into trying out different combinations of dice, where we try to mess with things. We want to make sure we catch ourselves and go, oh, yep, we got to go fix something. Okay, and then we can just, here, we can just do a temp die and get rid of it, queue free. Okay, so we can free up that resource. And then return. Okay, and then that's all done. Okay, so we check to make sure the die scene is valid. We check to make sure that there's actual faces. And now what we're going to do is we're going to just basically run through what we've already done. So if we come into, was it Combat Manager? Where'd we... Maybe it was actually in the die itself. Let's bring up the die. Dice scene, dice resolver. Here we go. And so what we're going to look for here is we're basically going to try to add the weight, where it rolls. This is calculating the results. Okay, so we need it in the actual die itself. What did we call it? Did we just call it die? Die? Die.gd. Yep, there we go. Okay. So we have the faces in here. We have a roll, which we're not going to use this because this roll calls the animation player. And if we're doing it 10,000 times, we don't want to go through 10,000 animations. But we're basically going to take all of the logic out of this. So like right here where we have the total weight, and we're going to take for face and faces, we're going to basically just take this function right here. And we're going to bring this right on over to our, where'd it go? Dice simulation. And then we're going to make that into a function down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the total weight. Actually, I don't need to make this a separate function because we're going to do this in a loop. Okay. So we're going to take this and just take that. We don't need this. Okay. So we're going to take the total weight, and for each of the faces, we're going to add up all the weight. We're going to sort them by weight, and then we're going to pick weight float random. So this is where we randomly decide which face. So this right here is what's going to be inside of our loop. Okay. So let's see here. So we got die, we got faces empty, we got the weight. Face and weight equals all of this. Yep, that's fine. And then let's print out the beginning of our print. Let's do a new line, and then let's just do a bunch of these. Excuse me. And then we're going to do print simulation starting or running. Let's say simulation running. Okay. So we'll do that. And then let's just so that we can verify what we have. We can say attacker dice, and then we can do a %D. So then we can say how many attacker dice there are. Defender dice, another %D. So we can say how many defender dice there were. And then we can say, and then we want to say what type of target it is. So target, and then we can do a %S because that's going to be a string. Okay. And then, oh wait, we want to put one more here. We want to do a %D here, runs, because we want to say running, 10,000 runs or something like that. So we want to make sure that we specify that. Okay. And so let's see, what we need to do here is we do this, and then we need to do a %, and then just do our runs, right? Is that what we call it up here? Runs, yeah, %runs. Okay, so simulation is running, this number of runs, attacker dice, so then we need to come in here, we need to put in what they are. So let's see here, we need the attacker dice, we need the defender dice, DF, what do they call them? Not defender dice, defense dice. Defense dice. And then target. Right, we want to use a ternary here because the target is going to be, it's a Boolean. So we're going to do monster if target, TARGET, else hero. Yeah, because we want to use that ternary. What are we expecting here? Expected no path string. Okay, well, this is... Did I do something wrong here? I got them all in the right thing, right? Oh, wait, do I need to do... I can't do them probably in the array, can I? I gotta do like... Oops. Let's do it this way. And then another %, and then the last %. And then we just take away this. Does that not work? Okay, identifier target is not declared. Oh, what is monster. That's what it's called. Is monster. There we go. Okay, so then that right now, when we go to run this, I mean, this is gonna error out right now. What is this? A void function cannot return a value. Oh, yeah. I'm just gonna put this out, and we'll just put pass for right now. Okay, so now when we do this, what did we do wrong? Okay, let's double check this. Running simulation %d runs object null. Okay. Did we do runs as an int? Do I have to do it like that? Drawing a blank here. Let's see. String replacement. And everybody has dropped. Go figure. That's probably because of my stream strength. Oh, nope, there it goes. It's back up. Okay. It was just the stream reporting was a little off. Okay. Let's take a look here. Why is this not formatting right? Let's take a look here. Boom, boom, boom. Let's look up Godot. Here we go. Print % replacement. Oops. %. Wow. % replace placement. Okay, let's see here. How do we use this? Where is our... I mean, we could do it the other way around, but I just want to do it. I like using the % places. But, okay, we'll just do it the other way around. I don't want to spend too much time looking. Okay, so we can just do this. We can take attack dice here, cut this out. We'll put attack dice here. And just do boom, boom, str, attack dice. Like that, comma. Is it comma or is it a plus? Might be a plus. I think it's a plus. Because we're making a string. Okay. And then so we'll do the same thing up here. We'll do plus string runs. Boom, runs plus quote. And then we can just take that off. Okay. So this right now should give us... Oh, no, it's gonna squawk because we have that in there right now. So let's try this again. Okay, did we break 4.7 again? We probably did. Okay, so let's fix this and then I'll reload it. So we're just going to do this for all of this stuff. So right here, we're going to say plus, and this we call it defense dice. Defense dice. Okay, target, and then this is also going to be boom. We don't need to do a string here. No, we need to do a ternary. We'll just copy the ternary from the end. Right there. Delete. Okay. And then we just copy this. Okay, so then we do target is plus boom. If monster, else hero. And then that should be the end. We have an extra one there. There we go. Okay. Save that. Let's just double check. This does not want to turn off now. Okay, so let's save it. Let's do a quick reload. What are you talking about? I saved. Project reload. Okay. Okay, so let's quickly hit this. Boom. Okay. Running 10,000, 3, 2, target is monster. Oh, we did need the... Okay, plus quote end bracket. There we go. Okay, so that will give us this. So then we can see our results right here. Okay. Great. So we got that stuff. We got stuff that doesn't really matter completely. But let's go ahead down here and let's look at our var and let's do a damage DMG distribution. Okay, and then this is going to be, we're going to make this into a dictionary. So we'll just make it a blank dictionary for right now. Okay, and then after that, we're going to do our total damage. Total damage, and that's going to equal 0. Oops, equal 0. So that's going to be, we're going to do an integer for this. And then what we're going to do, here's our loop. So for I in runs, runs var, let's do a hits equals 0. So we're going to see if we hit. And then we're going to do another for I, for A and attack dice, right, for each one of our attack die. And then here's where we're going to do our, this type of logic here. So we're going to put that right here. So we're going to pick the weight. We're going to go through the faces, subtract the weight, and then we'll return whatever the face is. So then here, instead of returning the face, this is where we're going to do our new logic. So we're going to return our face. So pick the weight, and then we say if face, what we call these here, their face names equals, I think it was hit with a capital T, I think. Where's our, let's load up our die.tscn. I think we called it, yep, hit. Okay. So let's go back over to where we were, simulation. Okay, so yep. So if the face name equals hit, then we're going to do just our hits plus equals 1. Okay. What is this? Assignment. Oh, equal. My bad. Equal hit. Okay. Okay. So that covers the attack dice. Now we're going to do the defense dice. Boom. For D, let's use D for in defense dice. Okay. So if we do this, and then, we need to define our variable first. Var shields, sh shields, equals 0. Oh, we should type safety. We should do type safety. Int, it's int. There we go. Int. Oops. Gotta pay attention to where I'm typing. Int. There we go. Okay, so we got that. Shields. Let's see here. So defense dice, we're going to do this. Faces. And then if face name equals, what we call these hero shield. Okay. So we'll do hero shield here. And this will be our shields plus 1. Shields plus 1. And then what we need to do is we need to copy this because we need to do one more check. If is monster, and then we're going to do this, and then we'll do else, and then we'll do this for the heroes. Okay. So this will become monster shield. Okay. So if it is a monster, then we want to check the face name to see if it's a monster shield. And that's the case, we add shields plus equals 1. Else, if it's a hero shield, then we do the shields plus 1. Okay, so that will loop us through this. And then we just need the quick comparison afterwards. So we need to do the var damage. And that's going to equal, we're going to look at the max value. And then we're going to do a minimum of 0. And then we're going to take our hits minus shields. Wow, shields. There we go. And then we're going to just go to our total damage equals damage. Damage. Did I misspell? Okay, no, I spelled it right. Okay. I got panicked there for a second. And then what we also want to do is we want to update our array for our damage distribution. D-A-M-A-G-E, damage distribution. What did I call it DMG. DMG, damage distribution. There we go. And then we're going to do that. We're going to do damage. And then, so basically what we're going to do is in the array, we're going to have a 0 for no damage, 1, 2, however many there are. And then we're going to count those, and then we'll just quickly output all that stuff at the end. So then we're going to equal this, and we're going to equal DMG distribution. And then we're going to just get, do I want to use get? Do I want to use, I don't know. Do I want to use get? Let me double check get. Get returns corresponding value. Yeah, because so we want to use get, and because we want to add to the current value. Okay. And then if it doesn't exist, it just gets omitted. Right? Returns corresponding value for the given key in the dictionary. If the key does not exist, it returns default or null. Okay, so then it basically will return 0. Okay, so that should be exactly what we want here. So get, and then we want to add in the damage. Damage. I can't spell damage today. Come with 0. Okay. So that should, if it's nothing, if there's no, this key doesn't exist, we'll make it 0. If it does, add it. Okay. And then we want to do +1. So then if it doesn't exist, it'll be 0 + 1 = 1. So, okay. And again, this is counting our, if we did damage, and you know, which damage did we do. Okay. So after all of that, we come back here and let's, we're gonna do a print so we can show our results. Average damage, and then let's we want to put this as a float. So let's do %.3f. Yeah, %.3f. Wow, I can't talk. Okay, so then if we do this, we return a float, and we want to take the total damage divided by runs. Okay, so this is going to be the average damage. Oops, average. I can't spell damage today. I don't know what it is. I just cannot spell the word damage. I forget the second. I must be brain damaged. That's got to be it. Okay. So from there, let's see. Then we got to look at our distribution. So we need to print out our damage distribution. So let's say damage. Wow. Damage frequency. And then from there, we're going to go var keys, and we're going to equal our damage distribution dot keys. Okay. Oops. And then we'll do a keys dot sort, just so then we can make sure they're in the right order. Because sometimes, you know, maybe if we're rolling 4 dice, the first thing that came up was 4 damage instead of 0. So we just want to make sure they're all in the right order. Okay. And then let's just do a 4K in keys. And then all we're going to do here is just, we're going to count them and we're going to show them up. So var count, excuse me, equals damage distribution, damage underscore distribution. And then we'll pass in the key. Okay. And then we can do var percentage. We need to calculate the percentage because we want to make sure our bell curve looks the way we expect it to be. Percentage, not M. Percentage equals, and then we're going to do here, we're going to do a float. We're going to cast the count as a float. And then what we're going to do is we're going to divide that by runs. Okay. And then we're going to times this by 100 to give us a percentage. Okay. And then that should give us, That'll give us the percentage. And then what else do we need? Do we need... I think it's all we need for variables, right? Yeah. Let's you know what? Let's steal one other thing that I saw in another script. Let's do a bar, right? Equals this, and then for b an integer percentage divided by let's divide it by 2. Okay. I don't know why it's divided by 2.0, but and then we're going to do bar plus equals, and we're going to do a hashtag, so then we can build like a real basic bar graph chart. Okay, so then what we can do is we can print, and then we can say damage, DAM damage, and then we're going to steal what we wrote up here. So I don't have to keep copying and editing. This is why I like the %D. I could just never get it to work right. So we'll do damage here. And then this will be a string of, first we want to do, this is going to be our key. So we want to do the K. And then we're going to do damage. So that's the damage number. Trying to think how we want this to be. Damage, and then we want to show the bar, I believe is next. So let's do a let's see if I can get this to work. 5D. This is where I have the little bar text over here, and see if that works, but I don't know if it will, but let's try this. %5.1 F %. I don't know. Let's see. And then we do is there only just the one that, yeah, %S. Okay. So that should be the string of our bar chart, if I did this right. Right? You know what? I'm just going to try this the other way. I'm going to keep this. I'm going to copy this. Copy this. I'm just going to try this again. %D. %D colon %5D. This S end quote. And then do a %. We do a K for our key. We do the count, how many there were, the percentage, and then we're going to do the bar. Okay. And this time you're not yelling at me. What? Why didn't that work up above? Anyway. And then we're just going to do one more of, where did I put these? Up here. We're going to just put this, so we create this nice little text. This is all back, early like Pascal programming for me. You drew all your boxes with ASCII art, and then everything was all fun and games. And my very first game I ever made, temp die Q free, QUE free. There we go. So we free up our temp die. My very first game I ever made was a text-based adventure game that was based on Star Wars, and it had a little ASCII R2-D2 and lines coming out to project, and it was a little stick figure that was supposed to be Princess Leia. It was a cute little thing, and I made it for my Pascal 6 class back in 9th grade. It was a lot of fun. But okay, so we got all that. We have got, I think we've got everything we need. Let's try this. Let's see here. Let's go back, close this. Dice simulation. Boom, boom. Okay. So we have our dice scene. We have 10,000, TAC 3. Running simulation. Okay, let's clear this. Where's my little clear? Where's my little broom? Oh, 4.7. They moved it on me. There we go. Okay. So run the simulation. Error. Doesn't like the string formatting. Okay. Okay, so let's go back here and let's redo this. So let's do, whoops. I wonder if this It was some like legacy formatting. It's just not supported anymore. Oh, okay. So this is the damage. This is our K, because this is our the number. This is going to be our count. So we're going to put this in here. This is going to be our count. Okay. This %5 is going to be, this is going to be our percentage. This is going to be, that's the formatting of that. And then this is going to be our bar. That's already a string, so I don't need that. Percentage string, and then this is formatting that string. So we need, okay, so how do I format? I'm just going to put it as percentage for right now. I'll go back and look how to do the percentage properly after. Okay. Come down here. Oop. Okay, so we've got this damage error formatting. Not all arguments convert to string. Okay, what did I... Bar is a string. Oh, we never declared bar as a string, so let's do that. Okay, so bar is a string. Bar plus equals this. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so we're sort of working here. So our average damage is 0. We made the bar. Here we go. 72% of the time is no damage, damage 1. Okay, so we've got a little bit, but not quite everything here is working properly. So, oh, yeah, we don't need this anymore. Plus bar. There. Okay, let's sweep this up. Let's try this again. There we go. Okay, so here's our distribution. We have 3 dice. Why is it saying we sometimes cause 4 damage? Oh, wait a minute. This should be here. Right? Because this is each of the keys. We don't, oh no, that part we do want. This part we don't want every key. Okay. Let's try that one more time. There we go. Okay, there's our little distribution chart. Okay. Let's see here. So this is obviously not working correctly because that is not the distribution curve I expect. Do we have our dice reweighted? Is that a problem? And how are we getting, something's not right because we should not be getting damage 4. We have 3 attack dice. The max we should ever be able to do is 3 damage. Okay, so we got something wrong either in our code. Up here, we got hits, attack dice. For iron runs, okay, so this is our run. Okay, so this is everything that happens in one run. Okay. So at the beginning of the run, we reset the hits to 0. We set the shields, and then we go through here. We calculate this. We pull it. For each attack die, face and faces, pick the weight. We go through. If pick weight is less than or equal to 0, if face name equals hit, we add a hit. Okay. So that should never... Okay, that seems fine. Shields, 0. For D in the defense dice, so right here, we're setting our defense dice. There's 2. Okay. Let's see. We're going to pick the random weight. Wait, did I forget something here? No, pick the weight. The face and faces minus the weight. the pick weight's less than or equal to 0. If it's a monster, check to see if it's a monster shield. If it is, add 1. Else, if the face name is a hero shield, add 1 more shield. Okay. And then this, the damage equals the hits minus the shields, or 0. So, because we don't want a negative number. So that seems fine. So the total damage plus equals damage. Okay. So this is our damage. Our damage distribution with the array key of, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 0, whatever the total damage is, equals our damage distribution. I think this is wrong. So what we need to do is I don't think this get is what we want here. Let's see. Let's hover over this again. Returns the corresponding value for the given key in the dictionary. If the key does not exist, it returns default or null. Okay. Note, if the default argument is computationally expensive or has unwanted side effects, consider using has. So if we get key, if Dick has key, hold on, let's bring up the full thing here. Always calls expensive function. Calls expensive function only if the key doesn't exist. Why don't we just use this? If it has the key, else we'll add the key. Okay, so why don't we do that? So let's go back here. Oops, cancel. Close the dictionary. Okay, so let's change this here. So let's say if damage distribution, has key, so in this case it's going to be damage. Okay, has damage. If it has damage, then we're going to say damage distribution damage. Okay, so if it has it, we're going to increase it plus equals 1. Or, yeah, because we're going to say it another time has happened. Else, if it doesn't have it, then we're going to create it. All right, will that create the key in the dictionary? Let's find out. Okay, so let's try that and see if that gives us a different result. Now, that's still giving us I mean, we definitely got some spelling errors here, but average damage is not calculating properly. Okay, so let's take a look at, maybe this is what the problem is. AV average damage is going to be, let's just quote this off here. And we're going to call this a string, and we're going to say it's going to be total damage divided by the number of runs. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Did I have too many there? What's going on? So the average damage is going to, plus. There we go. Okay. So let's see if that gives us a good average. It's still not giving us an average damage. So are we total damage? Let's just make sure I didn't do a stupid spelling error. DAMAGE, total damage, runs. Right? We got runs. Where do we define total damage? Right here. Total damage. Okay, so right here before we do this, let's do a print. Let's print the total damage just to see if we're actually getting the number here. Total damage. Yes, we're getting the total damage. Okay. Print runs. Yep, right there. Okay. What if we just do total damage divided by runs? Why is this still printing 0? Do we have to do it this way? Put it all on a thing like that? No. Why is that? Because down here we're working with float count. Oh, what if we just do float total damage? We just put total damage divided by runs like this. So then we cast total damage to a float and then divide it by runs. There we go. So that's the average damage is 0.4279. That seems a little weird. Well, actually, no, not with this distribution curve. Okay. So that looks like that is working right, but this is not our expected result. Oh, let's go back here. Let's look at our, let's take, that does seem very weird. Let's reduce this down just so we can work on some, let's just do one die roll. I'm just curious here. Boom. One die roll. Oh, whoops. I altered it in the wrong spot. Over here. One die roll. There we go. One die roll does 1 damage. Okay. 0 damage. 2, 4. Yeah, see, we're definitely getting some 4 in there. So something in our die rolling is not working right. Okay. Let's just, maybe it's our dice. Let's check out our dice. Let's just make sure we didn't mess something up with that. So let's go look here at the faces. Face value is 1. Face value is 1. We got monster shield, hero shield, hero shield. Hit, hit, hit. Those all seem right. Okay. So that doesn't seem wrong. I mean, this may very well be pointing us to why I wanted to do this, because it felt like we were doing a lot less damage than I expected. Because I know when I play Hero Quest with my son, it feels like it's very brutal, and what I'm getting from this is anything but. So that's why I'm curious here, and this is why I wanted to do this. I want to make sure my algorithm is working right. I wonder, how about if we just do total weight, faces? Do we need to sort? Oh, wait a minute. We're sorting. Oh, this is the die. We're sorting it here. Actually, are we sorting up here? Run simulation for face and faces. Sort. Did we do this? This is the beginning. We sort the faces by weight. Okay, so this is the beginning. We're setting up the die. Okay. Oh, are we resetting the... What are we doing wrong? Let me think here. So when we pick the weight, right? We're picking the weight. And then when we pick the weight, we're going to pick a random... Oh, should this be 0? Random range. I think this might be our problem. This might need to be 0. Because if we're starting with 1, then we're always going to be slightly bigger than 1. So we're always going to be skipping the very first face. I think this might be our root problem. This may have been what's been causing my dice to feel wrong. So if we do it this way, right? If we do 0, let's see what this, let's take a look here. Let's clean this out. We have one, let's do 10. How are we still getting 4 damage? Something's not adding up here. So when we're adding this, so this is messing up down here. Excuse me. You know what? Let's just let's print out the damage for each run. Print damage. Okay. So we're only doing it 10 times right now, so that shouldn't be too bad. Okay. Yeah, see, we're getting, okay, so this is calculating wrong. Hits minus shields. Okay. Let's print, let's do hits, shields, damage. Okay. Hits. Can I just do a string for the entire thing? Figured. I was like, that'd be nice if I could just do that. Okay, so we do this, and then we do hits, colon, that, plus shields. Then we do a plus. Oops. Plus. There we go. Plus shields. And then, oops, need a plus here. Did I forget a plus somewhere? No, not yet. Okay. Plus, quote. And then here we want to do damage. Quote, plus. There we go. And that should. Shields is not declared. SHIELDS. There we go. Okay. So if we do that, we come down here. Here we go. Okay, yeah, so our hits are definitely calculating wrong. Hits 8, shields 2, damage 6. Okay, so what are we doing wrong here? What are we doing wrong? That is definitely not right. Okay. We're resetting them to 0. How is this going? We pick the weight. We go through each. Oh, I see what's happening. Okay. Oh, dummy me. So what we're doing is we're adding each face. So it's always adding hit, because the way we have it organized in our dicing, we have it hit, 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 hero shield, monster shield. So what we're going through each face, and we go to the first face, and we have our pick weight here, and whatever it is, say it's 4. We go through, we say 4 minus equals face weight. Okay. And then if the pick weight is less than or equal to 0, this should only happen when we finish picking it. I thought I was onto something. Now, not sure. Pick weight minus equals face weight. Is our total weight off? Our total weight should be 6. We're calculating it right here. Total weight plus equals face weight. Okay. So let's just double check what our total weight is before we start the run. And let's make sure it doesn't change every run. So let's just do print total weight. Okay. So let's see. Let's clear this up. Let's run this again. So we come up here. Our total weight. Nope, our total weight's calculating right. So our total weight is 6. Okay. So that is fine. Okay. So this is good. So we know that's right. Okay. And then our hits are 0 for A and attack dice. So this should only run 3 times. I just want to double check here. Let's do okay, so A and attack dice. I'm just going to put attack. Okay. This is just for checking. Oops. I want to make sure that if there's only 3 attack dice, I should only see the word attack 3 times before then I see this hits and shields. Okay. So I'm done here. Okay. I am seeing attack, attack, attack. Okay. So it is going through 3 times for the attack because there's 3 attack dice. Okay. So that's fine. Okay. So that is working correctly. This, I'm just going to put in here. Done attack roll. Okay. So let's just make sure that that's running properly. That is not. Because look at here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's running 9 times. If pick weight is less than or equal to 0. Okay. So I think this is where our root problem is. For face and faces. Oh, no, 9. That makes sense. Right? Because we have multiple faces. Okay. We have 3. No, we should only have. This is when the pick weight is less than 0. We should have it be done. But this is doing it 9 times. Why is it doing it 9 times? Is it 9? Did I count right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 times. Why is it rolling 9 times? Let's see. Let's work through this here. For face and faces, so we're going to go through each face of the die. Our pick weight minus equals the face weight, which all of our face weight should be 0, or 1. So the first time through, we should subtract 1. If pick weight is less than or equal to 0, then we should say we're done the attack roll. If not, we'll go back through. On the next face, we'll subtract the weight. Next face, subtract the weight until we're at 0. Okay, well, let's figure out what our pick weight is. Let's copy this. Let's print our pick weight. Okay, so our pick weight should be between 0 and 6. 4.4, 4.5, 4.9, 5.8. And see, like these ones, 2, 2, 2, nothing. 1, 3, 3. See, this one's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But our pick weight was only 1.5. So if our pick weight was 1.5, why did we go through 5 attack rolls? And it seems like the higher we go through less faces. So it feels like this is working absolutely backwards from how I think it should be working. Which also probably begs the question of, is this also mixed up? Probably. Okay, so let's just do this. Let's make our roll function here. Okay, and then in the roll, let's pass in the faces. We're just going to break this apart so then we can an array of face, right? Dice face, that's what it is. Array of dice face. And then we're going to pass in also the total weight. The total weight. And that's going to be a float. F-L-O-A-T. Okay, and we're going to return a face. So then we know we should only ever come back with one. So if we return a face, not a face, it's a dice face. Dice face. Why did that not autocomplete? Die face. Okay, that's why. Die face. Okay, so this, if we do this right, we should only ever come back with one face. So let's see if this helps us here. So let's take our, we're going to take all the, we're going to take this because this should be working fine. So let's cut this out. Okay, let's put this in here. So our pick weight is going to be 0 to our full weight, or total weight. What do you mean it's not? Oh, good. Yeah, I'll come back up and fix you after. Okay, so we're going to do that. And then here we're going to do for face in faces. Okay, and then we'll do the pick weight minus equals face weight, face dot weight. Okay, and then we can just say if pick weight is less than or equal to 0, and then we can just return face. Okay, and then we need just the fallback here. Let's do a return face is 0. Our fallback is just return the regular one, but that should never happen, but we just kind of want to do that so we get something back. Okay, so now we have this. So let's go back up here and let's do our roll here. Okay, so hits for A and attack dice. And then what we want to do in our attack dice, and my mouse just totally crapped out on me, go figure. We're going to do a var here. We're going to say face equals roll. And then we need to send in the faces. So that is, what we call this again? This is our temp die. Faces, temp die dot faces. Okay. And then their total weight. Okay. What am I? What did I just do? For face and faces. We don't want that. No, we want face equals. What am I doing? Equals roll. Okay. Let's do a var here. Var face equals roll. Oh, because I started editing in the wrong line. Oh boy. Yeah, go figure. Go figure. Okay. Okay, so here's our face, right? We don't need the pick weight anymore. And then we're just going to go through here. Then we can just do our comparison here. Bring it up a line, face. Oops. Okay. So then this should hopefully only ever return one face. So our attack should never return more than 3 damage if we have 3 attack dice. Let's sweep this and then we will run it. And why is that not working now? What did we... Oh, is this going to be back to a... Yeah, this is going to be back to a 4.7 bug. Reload. I thought this was going to be quick. Okay, there we go. And it's totally broken. Yeah. Roll. Send the faces. Did I not send the right faces? Hit 2, shields 2. Hits 1. So this always rolled 2 shields. Okay, well that seems right. So this is always rolling 2 shields now. Okay. What did we... Okay. So let's take this right here. We'll copy this. We don't need this anymore. We don't need this anymore. We do need that. So let's put this in here. Let's put this here. We don't need this. Okay. Hey! 3, 3. Oh, that seems awfully high. But let's try this again. Did we just 0, 1, 2, 3? Okay. Okay, let's bump it up. Let's see here. Let's do our 10,000 again. That's a lot closer to the percentage I would expect. 25, 36, 30, and about 9. Average damage of 1.2. Okay, let's remove this just because now I've filled my thing with 10,000 of those. Let's take this out. Boom. Okay. Clear this. Let's try this again. Did that... Oh, because it's a tool script. I need to actually hit save. There we go. 25, 36, 30, about 8. Okay. So this is looking fine here. So if I do 1 attack die and 1 defense dice, let's think about this one. You know, what do we expect? If we have 3 possible hits, the monster can only block 1 in 6 times. You know, we hit about 60% of the time and block 40% of the time. So I think if we do our math, that should be accurate. Okay, so this tells me that I think we've been doing our combat math wrong in our die roller. So let's take this logic right here. Here's our roll logic. Let's go back into our die here and let's take a look here. This is, that's simulation. I don't want simulation. I want die. Here we go. Hold on. Let me just come over here. Let's just save that. It's going to, every time, because it's a tool script and it shuts this off afterwards, it's going to tell me that it's been altered. Okay, so let's go here. We got total weight, face and faces. So total weight is 0. We add up the weight. We pick the weight. And here we're using this 1 instead of a 0. Okay. So I think if we change this to a 0 instead, I think that's going to be... Hold on. That's not right. Where's my get? I may have been typing at one time in the wrong thing. Okay, so faces.sort.custom damage distribution. Okay, so this should be faces, what I have before, faces.sort. You know what? Let's just copy this. It'll be a lot easier. Let's put this back in. There we go. Faces that, okay, so that, yeah, okay, so this is back to normal now. Okay, so then if I put this to 0, this should change our actual game. And I think, and this is what I was talking about, why I want to do the custom buttons. If I do, let's see if we can get some monsters to come up here. There we go. We should be seeing a lot more hits now. Let's see here. Yeah, okay, so this already feels more lethal. Yep. Oh yeah, look at that. Wow. Okay, so that's kind of cool. Okay, so I think all of that to find that we had to change this from a 1 to a 0. An hour and 10 minutes to figure out that we had to change a 1 to a 0. Gotta love it. You can't get around this type of stuff. That's just too funny. Okay, so let's go back here. Let's just do quick other things in our dice simulation. Let's keep 10,000 runs, but let's put this back to 3 and 2. Make sure we don't get any 4s or anything like that anymore. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So now we're getting the right. Okay. Yeah, that stuff being stuck in the loop before, I mean, we didn't really change anything, but with it being in the loop, I think what was happening was it was triggering multiple times in that for loop, and we're getting some extra stuff. But yeah, so this all looks good now. We get roughly the same distribution. Okay. So then, like, say, here we go. We have the wizard's fireball at 4, and most of these orcs have 1 defense. Let's see what it does. Boom. On average, we're doing it, 1 to 2 damage, 1.858. So we're doing a lot of damage. Only 5% of the time we're actually hitting with all of them. We're more likely to miss than to hit with all of the damage dice on the fireball. Say we're, what's the barbarian? He's got an attack of, let's say 4, and he's going against somebody with a 4. And then we can flip this and go, boom. So the barbarian is going to be, about 60% of the time, he's going to be doing 1 or 2 damage. And then if we uncheck this for a monster and just say, here the orc has 3 and the defender has 2, what's the average going to be for the player? And we should see a slightly different distribution for that. The player's more likely here going to be, 0 damage because there's 2 shields versus just 1. So then if we flip this back to a monster, you'll see the different distribution. Yeah. So you see for heroes, it's weighted a lot more likely to not get hurt than with the monsters. So, okay. An hour and 20 minutes to make this tool, again, to figure out that we had a 0 or a 1 where we should have had a 0. But that's good, because that it's been nagging me since we've done the combat thing, and it was really bugging me. So we got all that saved. Let's just save this. We'll close this out. Okay. So what I want to do now, let's go back to our attack, and let's actually add in the AP costs so that when we do a normal attack, we subtract some stuff. Okay, so let's see here. Where are we when we call the attack? Let's go back to our game board. We have the button. The button calls, I believe it's actor attack. Actor attack. Here we go. Combat manager is in group players. For actor entry, monsters, enable monster targeting. Okay, so here. So this allows us to target. Okay, so when we actually call the attack, target selected, and target selected where are we? Combat manager attack. Okay. So let's go to our combat manager. Let's look at our attack. Here we go, attack. Actor dice pool. Okay. So when we call the attack, we need to subtract the AP point. Are we using this in our orc? Let's bring up our orc because I don't want to break the orc. Here we go. Our decision engine. When we go here, the action points, we execute the step. Where are we taking away the action point? Oh, we're just running through. Okay, so we're not actually subtracting the action point. Okay. I don't know if I want to do it that way then. Yeah, I want to do it on the player. Okay, so let's go back to combat manager attack. This is a target actor, so let's just add in if current what do we call it? It's the turn manager, current actor. Do we call it current actor? What do we call the turn manager? current. Oh, here we go. This is what we want right here. Current turn node. Okay. If current turn node dot actor is player, and then let's make sure that they have enough action points. If the actor dot action points ACT, what do they call it? Was it just plain action points? Nope, maybe it was in player abilities. Oh, it's in the turn node. Yeah, that's where the action points are. Okay, so it's in the turn node itself. Okay. Current turn node dot action points is greater than or equal to 1. Then we want to take we want to do minus equals 1. Okay, so we take away the action point from that and execute. So I want to do this slightly differently here. So if it's the player, no, this is where we already, okay, so this is, we're going to start acting. We're going to take away the action point. Okay. We're probably going to have to come back here and refactor this for the monster. And make it so the monster's decision engine, instead of just going through the decision choices twice, will make the monsters actually use action points too. So then if we have a spellcaster or something like that that's going to have a fireball, we can make sure that the monster only gets to use it once instead of twice. Okay, so let's see here. So we got this. We take away the action point, and then at the end of the attack, else, and then so when we do, is that back? Let's go back here and look at our game board. So when we do actor attack, we do target, we select the target, target selected. We wait the combat manager. If it's in the group players, action panel equals visible equals true. And then we can do, actually, before we do that, we're just going to say if they're in players, if they're action points, if current actor action points are less than or equal to 0, then we need to move to the next turn. So we need to end turn. Yeah. Then we can do end turn. There we go. Why is this not working? Turn manager. Is turn manager not defined in game board? I thought it was a global. Nope, game manager is global. Turn manager is not. Okay, so let's go back here and where were we? Where were we? Target selected. Here we go. Current turn node. So if we just do current actor, and does the actor have a reference to the turn node? Actor targeted. Actor. Let's look at the player. Player ability. There's no reference to the turn node there. There's no reference to the turn node here either. Okay. Okay. So, okay. Well, we can just do it this way. Combat manager dot turn manager. There we go. That'll work. Okay. So this should allow us to only attack twice and then end our turn. Oh yeah, our orcs are uber powerful right now. So, okay. Okay, so we got our rogue. Let's see. We should only be able to attack twice. So we do this once. Okay, and then if we do it again, this should end his turn. end his turn. He explores. Okay. Okay. So there we go. We got the action points now for the attack. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is I want to fix this because this is making it hard for us to actually work with. So let's make a custom button for that. So let's go back into 2D. Let's take a look at these and let's actually take one of these and let's just make it into a custom scene. So let's do create. What do we call this? This is our action buttons. Action buttons. And let's put that in the UI. Okay. So if we go into the action button, let's see here. What do we want to do with this to try and make it work? I think actually, do we have a UI? No. Do we have a, what do we have for assets in here? We get the skill icons. We don't have any of that stuff yet. Okay. So let's see here. Let's make this work for our scene. So I want to make this smaller overall. So right now the font size is 6, but it's obviously very, large because it scales with our, it's a control, so it scales with our scene. Oh, so what do we do to make it not scale? 33 by 20 is what it's set for. And we have it fill. Oops, zooming out. Okay, so I want it to be smaller. And of course, it won't let us go smaller. So what we're going to have to do, let's turn on an icon. I'll just bring in a atlas texture. And then we'll bring in the 16 by 16 as the region. This is just so we have a placeholder. Let's use, oh, I don't know. Let's use this face right here. Are we on Pixel Snap? We are. Okay. Pixel Snap. Okay, there we go. So now we have our button. This is our icon, what it does. Okay. And then we need to resize this. So let's see here. We've got this is our anchor preset. Oh, we need to restrict it. So the icon's going to be 16 by 16. So then we have our button at, it's at 53 right now. Will that let me? It won't let me do that. Don't want to scale it because that's going to really mess things up. Oh, let's see. What can we do? I'm just curious. If I mean, that'd be fine if it stayed that size, but I don't think it will. Fill, shrink, begin, shrink center. We want to stay one size. Didn't they add in 4.7, didn't they add in max size? Custom maximum. Here we go. Okay, so if we want to do a maximum of, say, like 100 by, let's do 50. There we go. So if we want to set this to a maximum of 50 by 20, yeah, 50 by 20. So we're also working in, where are we working in here? 320 by 200? I forget. Window. There we go. 320 by 200. Okay. Yeah, so that works there. Where is our icon scaling? Theme overrides, icons. Wait, what did I... This is the icon here. Text behavior. Oh, here we go. Icon behavior. Flat, vertical, center, expand. Okay, this one will make it scale. There we go. I knew there was a button to make it scale there somewhere. Okay, so that will scale that. So we get attack, we get the button. Okay. We have the maximum size. So we have 50 by 20. How about we always make them 50 by 20? So then they're always the same size. Okay. And then let's add a quick script onto them as well. And then what we want to do here, we're going to do an export var, and then we're going to call it action name. That's going to be a string. Okay. And then on ready, function ready, we're just going to set the button button.text equals action name. This is not .text. What are we calling it? We're calling it, yeah. Oh, we don't need to call it button.text because this is the button text. Okay, so then like here, if I do action name here, if I do attack, it'll show attack. But then if I change this to fireball, it'll show fireball. Okay, and then we also need the icon. So export var icon. That's going to be a texture txt ure 2D, and then that. What? Why did that? Oh, icon image. How about that? There we go. Because icon is already a used word. So now we do icon.texture txt. If we do it that way, I think, right? No, it's just icon equals, not texture. There we go. Okay, so then here, if I copy this, we reset this, and we blank this out, and I put this here, paste. Then when we run it, there we go. Okay, so then that, when we make these the abilities, we'll go through them from the ability, we'll pull the name, put that in the button, we'll pull the icon from the button. Okay, so let's let's give these a class name action button. Okay, so we have action buttons here. Okay, let's go back to our game board. Here we go. We've got this action button. We'll just call that attack. And then the move, cast. We'll duplicate this. We'll delete this. And then we'll change this name to move button. Okay. And then here, we're going to move it to move. Let's go here and let's just see. For now, let's just do this one. There we go. Close. Nope, I missed a row. There we go. There we go. Close. Okay, save. So now when I run this, these should attack, move. Oh, the move icon did not populate. Why did that not populate right? Oh, I know why. Okay, so let's remove these. So then by default, there's nothing there. Come back to our game board. We have the attack and the move. Okay. We're going to paste as unique. And then move. We're going to do paste as unique as well. And then we're going to edit this. And then we're going to put in the move here. Okay. Save that. Okay. Now they should have attack and move. There we go. Boom. Okay. And then we just have to use that scene now when we instantiate the players. And we did that where? We did set up action panel. Here we go. We did a button.new. Okay, so here we're going to use something different. So let's go up here. Let's find our action button. Action button, we're going to use a constant. that will be here, action button. Okay, then we'll come back down here. So here is, instead of button.new, it's going to be action button.instantiate. Okay, and then button.text. Instead of text, we're going to call it, what we call it, action name. Action name. Hold on, let's make sure I use the action name. Okay, and icon underscore icon name. Is that what we called it? Icon. No, icon image. Okay, so then now that should use our new custom buttons and our custom sizing. So it used the right sizing over here, but it did. Healing word is probably because it's so big. Let's just end turn. Yep, battle cry. Okay, so it did this, but it scaled the image real tiny. But fireball now fits where it's supposed to, and mobility fits. It's just, they're not quite. So we got to make sure the icon stays the same size. Okay, so let's go back over to our scene. Oh, icon, left, center, expand icon. How about if we turn off expand icon? What is that going to do? It's probably going to break things, but let's find out. Oh, no, there we go. Okay, and then we'll just have to reduce the size of the text slash button here. So that's fine. Boom. Ah, it didn't scale. Okay. Question. Do we spend the time trying to make an icon scale, or do we just keep assuming the icons are 16 by 16? Because if we go over here, we just replace this. Paste as unique. Save that. You know, do we even bother? Because then it's just going to be, you know, everything's going to be the right size. Fireball. Yeah. I think I don't worry about that for right now. I think that's going to be good enough. It just kind of keeps our box in the right area. Did that move off screen? That did move off screen. Okay, so let's see here. Where is this panel? We want the panel. Let's put this. Oops. Action panel. Here we go. Action panel. Bottom left. Let's put it on the center left. There we go. Save that. And then that way we can make sure we have all of it. Okay. Okay. So we got that. We got the basic ability scene. Wow. We kind of ran out of time today for a lot of stuff, but let's see what else we got. It doesn't look like thunderstorms have rolled in yet. That's good. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Custom ability. We did that one already. This is the maximum thing is going to be the benefit of 4.7 because 4.6 does not have a maximum button size. That also may be very detrimental to us when we go to scale for large screens. Because right now, if I do this and I make this, it's not going to work on this. I have to make the window pop out. Where is it here? Game, window, make it full size. I guess it's not going to be too bad right now, but if we set the maximum size on a large monitor, it could come back to bite us. But we'll have to play with that a little bit more. Okay, so let's see. We need to come back over here. Let's look at our abilities. So we got name, cost. You know, something I definitely forgot to put in here. Need a description. Because when we hover over the icon, the actions, we want to be able to know what it does. So we definitely need a description in here. Okay, so we definitely want that. So all of our abilities are going to have a way to tell our players what it does. Because, if they click Fireball, we need to tell them that it's automatically going to do, or it's going to roll 4 dice against each target. It's going to have a 3x3 or 5x5 area. We need to, relay that information to them, because you don't want to click on an ability, especially if it's an instant cast one, and not have a clue what it does. So let's see. We have our action point cost. We have our range. We have the AoE size. We have target type. Oh, we need to tell if we can target allies or not. So let's add that in. Export var target allies. We'll make that a bool. And by default, we're going to say false, because most of our stuff's going to be offensive. And then we want to create, we have the execute virtual method. I think I want to add in one more. I think I want to add in a target validation. So let's add one more in, just so we can validate a target. Is valid target. Okay. T-A-R-G-E-T. Okay. And then we're going to need to send in the actor. We're going to need to look at the target cell, just like the other one, target cell. And that's going to be a vector 2i. Okay. And then do we need... we don't need the game board. But this is going to definitely return as a bool. Okay. And then we're going to do return false. Okay. So by default, it's going to return, say, false. Okay. Okay. So we got that. We need that for our abilities. Have we actually defined any abilities here? I don't think we did. So let's go back here. Abilities, we added that in. And I think I made, if I remember correctly, under our players, characters, wizard. Yeah, I added an abilities thing. Okay. So I don't think... no, these are all empty. Okay. So yeah, so let's do, let me think here. What do we got? I think we can start with, what else do we need before we think about this? We need a way to target for AoE. We need a self buff, or just buff in general. So we probably need some way to keep track of that stuff. Oh, what do we want to do first? I think I want to do the AoE targeting, just because that seems like a lot of fun. And I think that will probably bring us, where are we? We got 20 minutes before the end of this one. So let's go into our game board and let's get a targeting thing. Okay. Game board. Okay, so what do we got here for? We have target, where when we do attack, we go into this actor attack where we can select a target. Okay. And then here's a target selected. We might have to rename that because that's kind of ominous. So let's write our function first, because I got the math in my head, so let's do that. Function, let's get all actors in range. Okay. So then what we need to do is we need to have the target cell. That's going to be a vector 2i. Vector 2i. Okay. And then we need the radius, how far out that's going to go. That's an integer. And we need to know what type of group it is. So whether it's a players or monsters. And then this is going to return an array because we need to know all of the, all of the actors that are in the group. And of course, because I have it zoomed in, it's just slightly off screen. Var, let's do our actor listing. Actor list. And that's going to be an array of actors. Actor. Okay. And that's going to be equal blank. So we're going to start off with nothing. Okay. And then we're going to say for actor. And we're going to do get tree. Dot get nodes in group, and then what we want to do is our targeted group, so we're just going to call the group here. Okay, and then we're going to go through those and just say var distance x equals, and let's do the absolute, so this is easy math, actor dot current cell. So let's find where they currently are standing. Current cell dot x. Oops, can't type. Current cell dot x. And then we want to do minus the center, the target cell, not the center cell, target cell dot x. Okay, so that's going to be our x distance. So then we use the absolute because we don't want to say if it's between -3 and +3. We can just say the absolute value, so it's always going to be a positive. So we can just say, hey, if it's within 3, they're our target. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do it for y. So y, current cell dot y minus y. Okay, and then we can just say if dx less than or equal to the radius. Okay, and we want to make sure dy is also less than or equal to the radius. And then we can just do actor list, actor underscore list dot append, and then we can just append the actor. And then at the end, we return the actor list. Okay, that should vector VCTOR2I. There we go. Okay, so then that will get us, now we just have to target that, we have to pick that cell. So we have to get into a AOE targeting area, or should we just redo this, this targeting? That's a good question. We could refactor this and we could say, what are we targeting? Or what we could do, why don't we do, this is, okay, we already got the attack. So let's do a function, actor, ability target. Okay. And then that's gonna, this should return a vector 2i because we need a cell. That's what this should return. Okay. Vector or var target target cell. Okay. And that's going to be a vector 2i. Okay. And then at the end, we return the target cell. Okay. And then, so all we need is the targeting. So if we reuse like we do for the player selection for like movement, where we go around and you can click on stuff, we can probably just reuse that. So if we do, that is in the player script. Player, here we go. So we can do this function input, ability targeting. Oh, I'm thinking twice about this because this will work for our players. But if we're doing this and using the same function for our monsters, they're just going to select the cell. They're not going to um, they're not going to have to hover over and do something. So let's see over here. So we have this. We can skip over the targeting of the monster because the monster is going to know where to target, assuming that they're always going to target a player. That may not be a safe assumption unless we don't give monsters AoE. That is a good thought. Do we do that or do we not do that? No. Chat, what do you think? Think we should do that? You think we should reuse our functions and be more efficient, or should we just spaghetti code it up and make it work? Let's see. So when we click attack, well, that was weird. Okay, hopefully this is still going. We just had some type of weird glitch. Let me make sure that this is still streaming. No, it says it's still streaming. Okay, yep, and it looks like there's output. Okay, that was weird. That was all my equipment went totally blank for a moment. Okay, so let's see here. Where was it? Oh, I was looking at game board, and I was going to look at the. When we click attack, we go into actor. We go into select target, and then. Okay, so this is how it targets for. So let's copy this for right now. Let's go back down here. Let's see what can we use and what can we not use here. So we'll print the select target. Comment measure is in group players for actor and get tree, get nodes, monsters, target monsters. So what we need to do is we need the ability target. When we call this, we need to know what the target group is. So we probably will have. We have the enum, right? And our ability, what do we use here? Ability, we have it self, single target, area. Okay, so we can combine the targeting type and the target allies. Target type and target allies. Okay, so let's come back in here. So let's bring in our target type and target allies. Okay, so we're going to want to bring these in. I'm going to need to define those, but I think, do we want to bring in the enum? These are just going to be values, but yeah, let's bring it in. Let's just bring it over. Actually, can I just use it from ability? You know, we can just pass in the ability. Let's do that. Let's pass in the ability. So let's take this out. Let's pass in the ability. And that's going to be of type ability. Okay. If ability dot target allies. Okay, let's think about. Oh, let's put this down here. So if they're in player, if ability target allies. Okay, so if we can target allies, then we need to turn on this players. So let's put that in here. Boom. Okay. For actor and get tree players, group players. Actor target, enable target mode. We'll change this around here in a second. Expected indent. Oh, that needs to be indented. There we go. Okay. So if ability targets allies, then we'll do this. Else, we'll just assume assume it targets monsters. Okay. So we'll do that. Okay. I'm just going to take out monsters for right now. We'll come back to them later. So right here we have targeting enabled. If is not connected, target selected. Actor target selected as target, connect. Okay. So let's try and remember how we do this here. Actor target equals enable target mode. Okay. So then when the target mode, do we have that? Where did we put that in? Is that in players? Player? I thought that was an actor. Targeted. Here we go. Target. Oh, because it's on the target itself. So it's in this. Okay, this script. Okay. So when they're targeted, enable target mode. On input event, connect. If is connected. So when it's targeted, selected as target, emit, get parent. Okay, so it's going to emit the actor when it's returned. Okay, so we come back over here. We come back into our game board. So right here, targeted, selected, connect. And then this is going to be where we connect it to the target. And then we need to then push this back to the, what's it called? To the ability. Saying, hey, we've got our target. Here it goes. So let's ability 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 target selected. We're going to do that there. Okay. And then we'll do that here as well. So then we're going to change the target selected, this one. And I'm just going to duplicate it for right now. Function ability target selected. We're going to bring in the actor. They're going to be actor, not character body. 2D, I need to update that one. And then we'll just do a void here and then pass. Okay, so it doesn't actually do anything when the target ability is selected. Actually, you know what? Let's do a print. What's the actor? Actor dot actor dot name. Okay. So then when they're targeted, that's going to just target the name. Okay. And then we are, where are we here? Ability target selected. Ability target. Here we go. This is where we were. Okay. So in here we have, if the ability targets allies, then we can trigger this. If not, targets monsters. And then that should do that. Okay. So this won't work for AoE yet, but let's just make sure this works. We need to call ability target. And so when we click on the button to execute, we need to run ability target. So if we go back into, I think in ability, we have the execute, where we have the print thing right now. I think it's in the game board build action. Game board build action panel. Here we go. Bind, start ability targeting. Bind ability. Okay. Start ability target. Oh, look, we already. Okay. We already had this roughly. We're duplicating work here. Okay. So let's just move our code down then. We already have it set up, so we might as well just keep using it. So our ability target. Yeah, so let's just take all this. We'll copy this over. We'll come back down here. Start ability targeting. I'll just leave that here because I may come back to that and look at it. But for right now, here's our target cell. We button press connect, bind the ability. So in the button press, we go here. We run this ability. Okay. We do a select target. So then we can select the proper target. Okay. And then the ability target selected. Ability target selected. I'm going to just cut this. We're going to put this all together down at the bottom. Okay. So let's, I remembered, remember what it's called. It's called region. Okay. Here's our region, and this is going to be our action abilities. Okay. And then at the end of the region, you just put in end region. I think it's just end region, right? Yeah. Okay. So then we can just do this, collapse it all. Okay. So this is our region for our action abilities. Okay. So we add in our buttons. We got our buttons. If it's a ability where we can target players. So if we go back over to our priest, what do we have defined right now? We have healing word, single target. Let's make it so. Why this is not letting me edit it? That's weird. Why is that not letting me edit that? Okay, well, let's see if we do a quick reload. Nope, that's not what I want. This is what I want. Okay. Oh, because we're defining it. I know why. Because we're defining it in here. Yeah, that's why. Okay. Priest. Because that was defined in the game board, not in the actual character scene. Target allies. There we go. So the priest should be single target on allies. Okay. And then like the rogue, what did we have for his ability? We had, that's mobility, target self. Yeah, we don't need to worry about that. I'll just turn that on just for purposes. Barbarian. Battle cry. Target self. I'll just turn that on again just for purposes. Wizard. What do we got? We got fireball. This one definitely should be target area, target allies. No. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So now when we use these abilities, we should be able to, oops, helps if I run the right scene. Try that one more time. So, yeah, let's see if we can get some orcs to show up here. Actually, we move here, we do fireball. We shouldn't be able to click these guys. And hold on, I gotta use, I want to make this back to the window. There we go. Okay. So then we can see our output while we're testing here. Okay, so fireball, select a target. We can't select any of our allies. Okay. And we have no way to cancel. Okay. Battle cry. That one we can target our allies. There we go. Barbarian. Battle cry. Wizard. Okay, so those work. move and turn, boom. Okay. Fireball, we can't target anything. Move, move. Okay. So we're still not in the weird. Okay. And end turn, boom. See if we can get some bad guys to show up just to make sure that things work right. Come on. Okay. We'll go back to game board here. We'll bring up our entrance 2 tile. Entrance number 2. Okay. So now fireball. We can't click our allies, but we can click the orcs. Yep. Okay. Okay, so that works. Okay, so we got our direct targeting working. Let me just double check. I am at 201. Let me just get the AoE targeting so we can pick the cell. And then I'm probably going to call it a day. Okay, so let's go back here. Let's ability targeting. We're in game board. Yep, ability targeting. Okay, so here, this is for in players. And then this is our individual targeting. Okay, so this should only matter if the ability is of type group or single target. So let's do this. If ability, AB, ability dot target, helps if I spell ability right. Target type equals ability dot target. Wait, what was the target type? Dot target type dot wow. maybe I should be done. Target type single target. And then we'll wrap all of this in the single target. Okay. Okay. So then we'll copy this here. That's a single target. Let's do the self first here is self. And then what we can do is we can do the so this returns who was targeted, right? Ability target selected. Selected as target, connect, ability target selected. So we're going to call this ability target selected dot emit. Is it emit? What is the it's not emit. Ability target, it's just a regular function. Ability target selected, and we're going to pass in the current actor. Oops. Where was I? Ability target selected. It's a function, and we're going to send in the current actor. Okay. Okay, so then we can just do, and then we don't need anything else after this. We can just return. So we don't need to execute any more of this code. This, we'll do this if statement here, boom. And then we need one more. We need to do AoE. And then if ability target equals, what was it? Area. Ability target selected. We need to do the I'm over here in my files, not in my actual thing. What do we call that? Get all actors in range. Okay, so we're going to need that. I just realized we still need a targeting. We're going to get all actors in range. And then that requires the target cell it requires the radius. So that'd be the ability dot radius ABILITY dot AOE size. Oh, we may want to change that AOE size. We're going to call that, I think, a radius. And then we're going to do group is the have we checked if it was a player yet? We did not. So we'll want this part right here, copy. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to add in another check. If ability targets allies, then we need to do players. Okay, else we're going to target monsters. Okay. If the current actor, whoever's casting, is in players, the ability targets, and if the ability targets allies, we're going to get all actors in, the AoE size, and that, and that. Okay. So now we just need to get the actual target cell. So now we need to figure out how to get the target cell. Okay, I think we're going to call that one there. I'm going to pick that up. Hey, I don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry. Ayush. Welcome to the stream as I'm getting ready to sign off on this for the day. So let's, just real quickly, let's go back and review what we actually did today. Just to kind of wrap up everything that we have. So we did the dice simulation scene so that we could actually verify that our dice are rolling correctly. And we found out our dice were indeed not rolling correctly. We were doing the wrong, we did a random range. So we dropped off a die face and it was causing some other extra problems. And then we also found that the way we were implementing that was incorrect. So that took a lot of time to get resolved. But as a result, we are now actually getting I gotta stop. I just realized I gotta stop my timer. Stop. There we go. We are now getting accurate combat. So we're getting accurate results now instead of slightly off. Like when we were getting 4 damage with only 3 dice. Don't know how that's possible, but so we got that fixed. We've got attacking now, so that when players attack, it takes away an AP point. Probably going to have to spin back and fix that with monsters so that we actually use monster ability points versus right now we're just cycling through the decision engine with each action point. I don't know. We may keep that. I mean, it makes sense for monsters because each action point is a decision, but maybe there's a case where, we give them an ability that takes more than one action. Don't know. And then we started building out. Was there anything else that we did? I forget. We built the custom buttons. So if we come back over here to our Godot, we built our custom action buttons so that we can actually put in our actions on the game board. So we have our ability to see the different icons. That's going to be a lot more focused in the UI, which is UI right here. That is milestone number 8. So we're a little ways away from it, but we're closing in. We're getting closer. So we're getting closer to that. Like I'm gonna have to fix the. I want end turn to always be at the bottom. I don't have that right now, so I will make sure that always gets to be at the bottom of the list. And then all of our other abilities. We've got, I didn't add in the description. We added the descriptions and never, we'll do it. I'll do it on Thursday stream. And then we started building out our targeting abilities. So now we can target allies, we can target single we can target ourselves, and so we have that base. The only thing we have left is we've built the basic logic behind a AoE targeting. The only thing we have to do left here for our area of attack targeting is we just have to find a way to grab the cell. I mean, that's basically going to be, again, I've stopped the timer, so I'm not doing any coding. But what we're going to basically do is we're going to come in here, excuse me, and we're going to steal a lot of this logic here that we use for our moving, where we just take the target as our mouse position and we convert it into a local, convert it into a vector 2i, and then pass that back. So the other thing I want to do right now is, I'm just going to show it, is when we do something like a fireball and we attack, I want it to show an area. So I want the tiles to highlight and be able to tell that, hey, we're, fireball, we're actually targeting the right thing. I was like, why is that not working? Yeah, because you can't target with AoE yet, so that's why that one wasn't working. Let's just make sure the other stuff is working here. Yeah, he's dead. Okay. Battle cry, this is targeting self, which you can see instantly says it's targeted the barbarian. So okay, and that's that. Okay, let's end his turn. Mobility, that targets himself, instantly says targets himself. And then healing, this can target allies. So if we click on barbarian, there we go. Click on the rogue, click on myself. Okay, so we got all the targeting except for AoE done, which we just have to pull in some of that logic. We have to figure out exactly, how we're going to draw that circle. We might just do like right now with exploring the tile, where I just have a dummy thing that highlights, and we might give it some graphic, like an outline, to steal some more stuff from Dungeons and Dragons. We have templates. If you play with a map, you can get a template and put it down, or Warhammer. We might do something like that where it generates a template scene, so then you can kind of see who's going to be in the area of effect. Might be easy, because then we can actually just draw, like if it's supposed to be a circle, we can just draw each of the boxes, so that as we move it around, it sticks to the boxes instead of an actual circle. Because as we're doing grid-based stuff, circles are going to be, is it half in the circle? Is it half out of the circle? Why didn't it get that guy? Yeah, stuff like that. We want to try to keep simple and clear to the player. So I think that might be what we do, is for AoE targeting, instead of just clicking on the target cell, we may actually just instead pivot and create a template, and we drag the template over, and then it can just pick up anybody in the collision underneath, something like that. So, but I think with that, I think we're in a good spot today. We've got one more thing to put in place. We have to build the buff system, so that when we do something like the battle cry for the what's it called, barbarian, so that you can add extra attack dice and stuff like that, or the mobility for the rogue, we need to be able to make sure that those buffs get added. And I just realized the camera's off today, but anyway, so we'll fix or finish the targeting next on Thursday, to make sure that we can click the cell that we need to click on, so we can actually target a fireball and move forward with that. We're going to add in the buff system, which that one is pretty easy. It's just the dictionary, and you just have to scroll through and do a tick on each turn and just say, okay, yep, subtract 1, take it again, subtract 1. Oh, it's 0. Okay, remove the buff. So that one's going to be pretty easy to do. We'll add that in, and then we're going to just bust right through building all of these abilities, because I think we have everything we need. Because once we have the buff system, once we have the AoE, and once we have the what was the third thing I was thinking of? Buff system, AoE, and yeah, no, I think that, those are the keys. Adding the ability. It's what I guess I'm thinking of. So once we have all three of those, we'll have our powers for our players, and then we can move on. I'm hoping it'll probably take us the full session on Thursday to get all the player abilities built out. And then on Friday, we're going to actually build out all the orcs, so we'll have a party to fight. And I think when we build all those out, the only thing left for this milestone after that will be actually inventory, adding the items, so we can add in the weapons and stuff like that. So that's going to be interesting. Looking forward to that. So look for that probably on Friday. I'm going to asterisk Friday because it's a holiday here in the state. Well, technically Saturday's a holiday, but Friday is kids are home and everything like that. So I may be a little hit or miss by that, but I'm planning on streaming on Friday. So I'm hoping to have the monsters implemented in that stream on Friday. So again, if you haven't seen anything else in the series, this is episode 18. I have the previous 17 all there on demand on YouTube for you to watch. And I hope to see you on Thursday for episode 19, and we'll finish out building all these abilities. So till then, have a good day.